This video is going to introduce a series of videos that I'm going to do for the legendary version of the Witch Queen campaign. As if you didn't know, it's obviously fully replayable, unlike other campaigns in the past. So you can actually pick this up at any point. Which obviously this launched at the start of this year when Witch Queen came out. The thing is, though, that I sort of thought about is that the sandbox in PvE is completely different to now compared to when this Legend campaign launched. Which it was actually a contest-style mode, like Grandmasters, like Day 1 raids and stuff. In the sense that it caps you at the power, right, of the activity. So if I'm 1602 now, right? Doesn't matter that I'm 1602 because it states this modifier state metal. The activity is at fixed difficulty. Your effective power is capped at 1350, right? So it's piqued my interest to sort of run these. So I'm gonna, as I said, do each one solo flawless. That's the rule, that it's solo flawless, right? For every one, there's 8 missions, so there'll obviously be 8 videos. I'm not gonna jam pack them all in one video. I've seen people do that, but it'd be hours long. It'd be a nightmare for me to render the video and all that stuff. So I'll just individually do them. That might mean that some videos are not as exciting as others because not every mission is super difficult. And that's another thing, to find out how difficult the missions are in this campaign as opposed to what they used to be. Obviously, it's going to be easier now than what it was, but how much easier? And it's fun, you know. I haven't run this in ages. Each mission, some will have commentary woven in, some won't. It depends on how I feel, how difficult the mission would be for other people. If I feel as though that it warrants the commentary, the added commentary, then I'll do that. If it doesn't, then I won't. It just depends. But there's some great missions in this campaign, so it just depends. But obviously on the first one I will, because the Arrival's a huge mission. It's actually massive. The build that I'm going to use for the campaign for Solo Flawless, in general, I can't see me changing much. I might change some weapons or loadouts as I go on, but the majority of the runs is going to be as follows. We're going to obviously choose on Titan, because obviously I'm playing Titan on this first. I mean, I can do the campaign on other classes. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. We'll see how this goes first. The views and stuff on the video, because if the views aren't there, I ain't doing all 3 classes because there's not much point, right? I've got to have a motive, and the motive will be views, interest from others. If there's that, then that's fine. If there isn't, then I'm just wasting my time a little bit. So we've got Thundercrash as our super, class ability thruster, Seismic Strike, Storm Grenades, aspects are knockout, touch of thunder, fragments are spark of shock, magnitude, recharge, ions. Pairing out with the exotic chestplate Heart of Inmost Light, of course. Weapons, we're using the Quicksilver Storm. We're going to try and use this as much as possible. If I do change halfway through the campaign, I might not. Then obviously I can label that in the video. But for the most part, I'm using Quicksilver Storm. I'm using an Arc Glaive crafted Nezarec's Whisper. An Arc Linear may switch off this, may not, but it's going to do the job. This is a general loadout in terms of it's going to cover a lot of ground in terms of its what it can do in the campaign, right? Armor mods, quickly state them. So on the helmet, Ashes to Assets, High Energy Fire, Elemental Charge, Barrier Auto Rifle, Bolstering Detonation. Barrier Auto, actually, a barrier weapon's useful in the campaign. Okay, I'll talk about it later in the run. Double Arc Resist, double Arc and a Solar, because there's a lot of Arc in this, with Seeking Wells on the chest plate. Elemental Ordnance, Linear Fusion Rifle Scavenger, double Bomber on the class item with Bountiful Wells. That's the setup that I'll be using for the most of the campaign. As far as the first mission goes, obviously I'm going to just do it right now and do a commentary for this. Hope you enjoy, thank you. So obviously, like I was saying, the first mission is the Arrival, which in terms of length, it's actually a pretty lengthy mission because it's the opening sequence to the Witch Queen campaign. So I remember the first time running it, I didn't think the mission would end. But obviously, since then, if you know what's coming, obviously it's not as impressive to you when you run it back. But it was fun running this back, though. Because I say I haven't really touched this apart from like doing your 100Ks and your pinnacle reward stuff. I haven't really been obviously touching these missions really, and alloy farming here and there, but not too much. So with this starting section, there's going to be 2 turrets, a void shield. Not that it matters because you can over-penetrate match game shield. Well, they're not match game shields in this. They're highly resistant, it states, but they're not the same as a match game shield in a GM or any Nightfall, right? So you don't need to think about matching shields in this. We'll pick up the object. So this opening sequence teaches you the putting the part right in the object to start the next section. You do a little bit of that, a bit of Wrath of the Machine mechanics, if you know what that raid is from D1. A bit of that, but obviously very light on the very light side. You can skip these enemies here. I'll show you the enemies that you can sort of skip and get on with, and ones that you can't. You want to just come right into this section here. There's going to be obviously plenty of Cabal, but that's where the Glaive comes in with the garden. And obviously your storm grenades and stuff. Make sure you use a bit of that. Obviously you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit harder than usual, than like in any other story mission. So you've got to sort of take that into account. It's not the enemies will hit you hard, but you can take them down pretty fast as well. You're almost a bit of like a glass cannon in these. That's why we've got the Glaive on, just to show people. Just get a Glaive on. Doesn't really matter what element. That you've got one of each now. So, well, apart from Stasis, just pick your favorite Glaive. I seriously think the Glaive's one of the best things to sort of use in stuff like this. Plus, it's got an unstoppable force. This demolitionist, it's crafted. It's an arc one, so it synergizes with the arc build. But as I said, you don't have to use a Glaive. You could use anything you want, really. I'm also using Storm Silver just to sort of show it off. It's a very good auto. Plus, it's got arc built within it. If you didn't know, one of the seeking missiles it does, the auto seeking ones, not the ones where you prep the grenade launcher, not like that, the other ones, they deal arc damage, so they take down arc shields, which is actually super nice. So yeah, it's literally the best auto rifle in the game. Yeah, I can confidently tell you it's definitely the best PvE auto rifle in the game, just because it's hybrid. It's hybrid GL, hybrid auto, and it's a decent auto at that. So yeah, so this section here, there's just the 2 objects you've got to put in and carry up this little platform. You're waiting for the ad spawns. That's all I can really do with the commentaries on these, is sort of explain what ad spawns are and how to sort of optimize killing them and stuff like that. Know that the dropship will stay here for quite a long time. You can see how hard the dropship's hitting. I'm actually kind of letting the dropship hit me just to show you how hard they do still hit. Despite, you're capped at 1350. I don't know, you are capped at that level. So we've got barrier auto on. Why? Well, because it shoots through different things. If you're up against Hive Knights, which you will be, they put up their darkness wall things, right? Well, you can shoot through that. The Phalanxes, you can shoot through their shields. So if you're going to run Storm Silver in this campaign, which kind of recommend it, it's an all-rounder, very good weapon, then you could use Le Monarch. You can use anything you want, really. It's really up to you. Le Monarch would be decent because it's got Unrelenting, so you're going to get a lot of health regen and stuff like that. We'll use a super here while the ship's still up, and then guard. Look at that resistance from that dropship. If that doesn't sell you on Glaives, I don't know what will. Make sure that if you are using a Glaive loadout, you maintaining that shield, as in keep topping it up with energy, with Glaive energy, by just using it. The melee ability obviously doesn't count. It's the range attack that does. Now we can just skip these ads here. Be careful not to be killed by the Cabal ball things. This is flawless. Obviously, I'll do each mission solo flawless. Not that there's anything for that in the game. There is one triumph, but that's for solo flawless master. and it's just for any of the mission you can pick. It's kind of a badly designed triumph, to be honest. You can just pick any mission you want, solo flawless or master, and that's that. There's no solo flawless with this campaign. There's the emblem, but that's team or solo. You get it either or. It's the yellow one. It's the one I was wearing. I believe I had it on at least, I think. So again, we're just putting in parts into generators. I'm playing obviously more aggressive than what you really need to, but just showing you what you can sort of how much you can tank now in this, because you had to play it a little bit more carefully than this, especially when it was day one. If anyone remembers that, how good that was day one. It was a good day one experience. So we'll put the two parts in, we'll go up the down the chute. And all you're doing is, this is like the Cabal section, right? But then you go up to the Witch Queen's Palace section, or whatever that's called, right? And then you do that bit. So it's quite long because you're covering a large area in this mission. So this section that you can book out the checkpoint, be careful that you don't do that. So wait for new objective to complete. If you don't do that, ads don't spawn in as they should. That's what I found. I'd actually reset the run because of that. Ads weren't spawning. So make sure you wait for that CP. We know that checkpoints are sort of broke at the minute in the game. And if you're on Arc 3.0, it's even worse. So just be a bit more patient. I know it is annoying, but just be more patient so that the ads can actually spawn in. You just need to clear out 2 big Cabal guys at each corner of the room. The first one spawns initially. The second one won't. It's based on how many remainder ads that you kill. You've got to kill some of the Scions and a couple more Legionaries in middle. Then you can get to spawn killing, because they come out of this door here. So I want to really be here for as they come out. But again, as I said, it's based on percentage, and I haven't killed enough, and they hide. It's fine. The storm will track them out. That's the ad spawn there. That's the big guy. We get a shoulder charge in. Bit of glaive. Use our storm. There's ads behind us. Finish off with a glaive. Pretty straightforward to take them out. I could have done them endless ways. The first one I took out with super, as you saw. The second one you can use linear, whatever you want. So once you activate lift, you just need to wait for that. Pretty straightforward. This mission might not be that interesting to you, but as the campaign goes, there's some actually really good missions. Especially when there's like multiple bosses and stuff. So it'll get more interesting as it goes on. Like I say, I'll do a comment on this one because it's the first one, but the next one probably not, because I've already done that one. I've done the one after that as well. I've done a couple already. I'll provide, as I say, a commentary on the ones that I think people would find a little bit of use out of it, because it's weird when you go on LFG, you sometimes see people looking for these missions to do them. They're still looking to do these missions on Legend Mode, and maybe it's new players as well. You never know who's posting that. It could be somebody who's just bought Witch Queen now. They were free to play, then they bought Witch Queen, and then they're like, how do you do this mission? So the LFG in it. But you do see from time to time people LFG in these missions still, which I find interesting. Just skip these ads here. This is when you go in the cannon thing. Now the cannon can kill you. I would just recommend that you don't jump. You just remain sprinting on the sort of ground, or on the sort of the base of the cannon thing, right? Because he can actually knock you in a different way and kill you. And that would obviously get rid of your solo flawless. Just to make it fun, it's gonna be flawless. I wouldn't post it up otherwise. So now we're on the Savathun section. It's just a case of navigating your way through. Pretty straightforward on where you go. Right, once you've done it, you kind of know. But if you're unsure, obviously just pull out your ghost. The ghost will show you where to go. That's what makes these types... This is why you don't see me doing these types of videos much, because they're very difficult to commentate on. Because there's not a lot to talk about. Um, that's a thing. Now it will be interesting, like on the final mission and stuff like that. There'll be very interesting to sort of redo it because obviously I've done it, but do it again. And a couple of the missions leading up to the final boss. But on the initial set of missions, obviously, you know, there's not a lot really I can tell you. This section here is with the tributes, so you've got to kill 3 major targets. Right? It goes from 2 knights to then wizards at the end. I actually find it difficult if I've got a tribute. It generally tells you, but if you've got a lot of buffs going on, it won't tell you. It'll tell you that you picked it up, but you know, sometimes it doesn't show you on the right hand side. But they're like little motes. Getting hit hard on the plate. You don't need to stand on the plate. There's no plate mechanic here where you have to stand on the plate or anything like that. It's just a case of kill hard, deposit tribute, if you like, into the plate. If you're going to do the Titan build, obviously try and ability spam as much as possible. Try and have a look at your rolls of Heart of Inmost Light. You want to obviously prioritize resilience, discipline, and then recovery if you can as well as your third stat. But it's more so resilience, discipline, recovery is third as importance for this build. Because even if you have low recovery, you can still solo GMs. Right, as long as you got max resilience. But if you haven't got max resilience and you got high recovery, that doesn't matter because you're going to get hit so hard that resilience just ends up being the best stat to run. Recovery is still a really good stat to spec for. It's obviously just difficult to spec for a treble 100 Titan. Obviously, you've got that army, you can do it. But those are the 3 stats that you want. So we're going to jump. We just need to get over that gate. So this is the route that you take. Pretty straightforward. There's some flies here or fairies or whatever you call them. This mission's showing you what to do with them. That you've got to shoot them down and stuff. So you can just run past them though, which I'm going to do that. One good thing about storm grenades is that they can track these fairies and actually get rid of them for you. They hit hard on this. I reckon 2 fairies would just about kill you. 1 won't, but 2 potentially, 2 or 3, if they all hit you at once. So they hit hard, but obviously not as hard as they used to because the resistance changed from last season. So there's a couple of acolytes to spawn out of this door. We'll just take them out with the glaive and a nade. And then the other adds at the back of the map on this, around this corner here. There's going to be an ogre spawn. We're actually weak here. This was actually a bad play by me, but it's fine because I didn't realize there was a curse so close. But the curse didn't thankfully explode on us. But if that would have been a death if that had happened though, because I was quite weak. Then to skip the remainder of the ads once the ogre's killed, and then you can skip this section as well. I'll show you how to do that. If you've got speed booster, it makes it easier for you, but you can just shoulder charge over them. That's why we've got Seismic Strike on. Thunderclap will be good. You can do Thunderclap all day long. I just like Seismic Strike because I think it's the most useful melee ability because it not only does like a momentum, a movement option, but it also blinds enemies and stuff. It does less damage than Thunderclap, but the build revolves around your grenade anyways, to be honest. Even though it is ability spam, but it does revolve around you getting your storm grenades out. Not so much, you know, Thunderclap or something like that. But yeah, if you want to go Thunderclap, you can. I just like using Seismic Strike just so I can zoom to the next section a little quicker, and it's pretty good. Now this is the game showing you the first Hive Guardian, or it would be if it's your first time. Right, we're going to actually prep our Storm Silver. You cannot finish this one because the game's showing you that they res. Right, it's showing you the res mechanics. You're going to have to kill this Hive Guardian twice. So I'll super the second time with a Storm. Look at barrier there. So the barrier auto is shooting through that Guardian's barricade. That's another reason why you want barrier auto on. It'd be the same if you used Wish Ender. Wish Ender would shoot through. Arbalest would shoot through. any barrier weapon will shoot through that barricade, which it's useful because the longer we go throughout the campaign, the more Hive Guardians you're going to face. Therefore, the more useful barrier weapons are going to be in this. Even though there's no champs, we understand that there's no champs, but as I said, barrier auto is still useful because it has over a couple of capabilities. It just doesn't tell you anywhere in the game. It should have a more detailed description of what barrier does. Same for overload, same for unstoppable. What I mean is, i.e., what else does it do apart from champion capabilities? The tooltips should be updated. There's no excuse for that. The tooltips should be updated, but it's just that I understand it's a nightmare for Bungie to sort of add anything in the game without someone else breaking. So that they don't like to sort of update tooltips too much. But I would love to see tooltips updated, like with percentages and durations of exact times. I'm sick of relying on third-party things. I'm sick of relying on Reddit, stuff like that. It should be in the game. Any other game that you play, shooter, looter, even that new one, First Descendant, it had all the tooltip information. It had all the percentages, it had everything. You know, I understand they want to leave some stuff ambiguous so that content creators can make content on it. Therefore, they're like letting the community know all this stuff. But sometimes, no, they should be letting you know. Like particle deconstruction, when that came out, they didn't tell you exactly the details with that. That it would work with standard fusions as opposed to linear fusions, and you could proc it quicker and all this stuff. There's so much information missed out in the game. You know, but that's why, as I say, it gets the views on YouTube because, or even on Twitch, because people flock to players to try and find out information, especially when it's a new season, to find out all the new stuff. The final phase, obviously, we're just putting tributes into the plate. The only difficult phase on this is the ogre. The ogre's actually quite tanky, believe it or not. But if you loop round like I just did, the ogre will fight you from outside and you're inside the building type thing. That's the best way of doing it, unless you super, which I could have supered as well. But that's that. That's the tributes deposited. So you would think it's over. Honestly, when I first played this today, I was like, how long is this mission? I couldn't mind how long it was. I thought that was complete there, to be honest. But it wasn't. You actually get ported to where Lightblade, the Lightblade GM starts. You get ported to there. Yeah, and then you fight at the starting area. So with this zone, there's a bunch of ads just like there is in Lightblade, but they're all sort of spread out, a little annoying. You've got to clear out all the enemies to get the next objective. So we'll just use our glaive, our storm grenade, stuff like that. Just go in. It's the funnest way of playing this as well. Rather than sitting back with a scout and then just, you know, sort of just scouting all the enemies down and stuff like that. It's kind of like, well, since they've done the changes with resistance and stuff, you may as well make the best of it and, you know, sort of play the game in a fun manner, right? Which you can. As with resistance, there's a lot of people complaining or wanting it nerfed, and I'm just thinking, why are they saying that? I think that's a very silly thing to say. Nerf resistance. We've only had it as season 2. We've only had, well, this is season number 2. We've had it. But may I remind you, resistance has been broken since 2017. And we've only just got it fixed 2 seasons ago. And you want it back to the way it was? Hell no. We want to keep it as it is for now. Design the content around the resilience that is now. Yes? So design a prime example is duality. Duality was built around you having that 100% resistance. And even with 100% resistance, you could still die. Right? So the future content should be based around you having that or high resilience, right? Let's not go back to what it used to be, please. We'll finish the boss off with a storm and a super. I recommend that you do that. Makes that bit at the end easier. That's the first mission completed anyways. I'll upload from the rest of them, of course. Some will be commentary, some won't be. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.